So someone asked me to do a live on forgiveness. And my goal is to break things down because I'm going to be honest with you, Chip. I had to understand this because I used to hear, well, forgiveness is for you. It's never for the other person. Like I heard that, but I couldn't get past that programming. Okay. I just still didn't get it because of my philosophy on forgiveness. So my philosophy was, if I forgave this person, that means what they did was okay. That meant that I left them off, that I'm letting them off the hook. That means that I am forgetting what they did when that has nothing to do with anything. And so what I learned was, I call it the F word, right? I do call forgiveness the F word. And what I said was you have to make the choice to forgive. So it's a decision, meaning that we base forgiveness on how we feel. You're never going to feel like forgiving if you just want to be honest. So we got to base it on the fact that it's a choice, meaning that it's a decision. So like when you make a decision to do something, you open up your heart and your mind to go down that path. So even though all the feelings aren't completely thrown out the window at the time that you made the choice, what you're doing is you're allowing yourself to learn. You got to become an expert at forgiving. You have to become a student of it. Many of us don't understand what it means. We don't understand. We got to learn how to forgive. And that's what I had to do. I had to learn what it was. I had to learn that everything starts with a decision. When I decide to do something, that means that I am going to be committed to doing it. So I didn't care how I felt. I did know how I was feeling wasn't working. And I needed to learn to do something that I never done before. And that was truly forgiving. Because I used to say, I forgive them, but I said it with attitude. So, I didn't really forgive them. So it was just said with attitude, but because you want to sound mature, you want to sound like you're being mature, but let's be real. I was real petty. I was like, hey, I forgive them, just mad saying it. So you can't be mad about forgiving somebody. So I knew I had to forgive. And so what you got to do after you choose, you got to learn, meaning that you got to educate yourself. If this is new for you, it's what it is. I believe we got to understand what forgiveness isn't. It's not about excusing their behavior. It's not about completely all your feelings are gone. Maybe you got to process that. Like I tell people, you got to process your emotions. It's when you're a coach. So when an athlete hurts themselves, they have to feel the pain for it to start feeling better, right? Right. So your emotions are just like that too. It's a wound. So you have to treat it like you would if you go to a physical therapist. All right. We still have to apply what's necessary to the emotional wound. We just can't see it, but we can feel it. So it's the same thing as like what an athlete goes through when they hurt, their Achilles heel, whatever it is that they're dealing with at that time. They have to go through the pain before it even feels better. That's why many of us still aren't forgiving, because we don't want to feel the pain. We want to run from it. We got to run to it. You got to run to it. If you're angry, own it. Anger is a valid emotion, guys. Anger, you just don't supposed to hurt anyone or hurt yourself, but you need to know why you're angry. I'm going to tell you why I was angry. I was angry because I thought that I was going to get the return that I was looking for. I was angry because I made decisions to make everybody else happy. So I was just angry. And I felt like because I didn't get the harvest that I thought I was going to get, it made me angry because my life wasn't where I wanted to be. So I just had to own it, and I had to accept the fact that this was how I felt. It doesn't mean that everything is okay between you and the individual. This doesn't mean you have to be friends, but it also means that you don't have to be enemies. Okay. So what that means is that, hey, you can love people from afar. Some relationships, you just have to understand that is going to be the dynamics of it. Depending on what happened, if you've been abused and betrayed so much, sometimes you just got to know that person doesn't fit in your environment. However, you can still forgive them. It doesn't mean you should forget. I know I kind of go against what many say, but I don't think you should forget I don't think anybody can honestly forget what they've been through. I believe what you've been through is supposed to help other people. So you don't supposed to forget it. You're supposed to remember it so you don't go back. You got to know why that pain hurts so much. You got to know, man, I can't go back, because here's what I find is that many of us are addicted to toxic relationships. We are addicted to pain. You just don't get diagnosed for it when you go to the doctor. So many of us don't know that we have created a culture of hurt, where sometimes we don't even realize that is what we are, that we entertain. And as a divorce coach, I tell people all the time, like, if what you wanted came today, would you be able to fully receive it? Because that's important to know, simply because if you have been a person that has created a culture of hurt and a culture of pain, you think all of a sudden that everything that you say you want when it comes, that you're just going to like welcome it with open arms, chances are you might self-sabotage it. Because you haven't developed your worth and you don't know what that type of love feels like. The only love you know is disrespect. The only love you know may be verbal abuse or even physical abuse. If you've been addicted to that, I mean, it's like a drug addict, guys. They don't just get over like taking drugs. They want to do it, right? But they got to go through that pain process where, like, you remember Ray Charles, when the movie, when he was in there and he was like, he had to detox himself from those drugs. You got to detox yourself from the same type of pain. It's no different. And so that's why I tell people, don't forget as if it never happened. Remind yourself on why not to go back. Keep that story to help other people. So no, you don't forget what happened to you. And then you got to do it. So you choose, you learn what forgiveness isn't, and you do it. So you think about the situation that angered you and hurt you and acknowledge that it has. And then also I tell people, I know this might not resonate with many people, but I need for you guys to understand, you got to look at other people's lives through their lens. And that's a hard one, because what happens is when we're raised and we're taught to be a certain way, we think that everybody else knows how to do things. And we say things like, man, that's common sense, but it's not to everybody. So you got to allow yourself to look at somebody else's life through their lens and understand why they could be doing what they're doing. This doesn't excuse their behavior, but this does give you some understanding and some acknowledgement so you can have compassion. The goal is to have compassion for other people. And sometimes we're just so caught up in us being hurt that we don't understand that this person may be walking in their hurt. And so if this person may have had, let me just give an example. What helped me heal was one of the things of acknowledging the fact that my former spouse's father really wasn't around. And I know that that played an effect on him being a husband. Okay. And what that did for me, it helped me understand that, you know what, this could be why he probably loved me the best way he knew how. It just made one good for me. And I had to be okay with that. It doesn't excuse his behavior. But here's the thing. I can't control whether or not if he changes. The only person I can control is me and my perception on things. And so that's what helped me learn how to forgive. You got to choose. You got to educate it. You got to do it. And then you got to repeat it. You got to go through this list of who that you are holding on to that has hurt you. Because many of us hurt other people. Sometimes we do it knowingly, sometimes unknowingly. But if we don't allow ourselves to forgive, you can't heal without forgiving. It's just not going to work. So in a nutshell, that's just what I, kind of break down. I go a little bit more deeper with my clients, but it's important for us to gain that understanding and educate. I know spiritually we are taught to forgive, but I also believe that God gives us the tools to help people understand why this is important. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I want people, because here's the thing, I'm not perfect either, right? I needed to be forgiven, right? So I needed to also forgive myself for maybe hurting other people. So it wasn't just people hurting me. I know I hurted other people. And also forgive yourself. As I tell people, give yourself grace. I know we don't talk about that a lot too. Forgive you, okay? You're not perfect. And many of us are living from past things that we've done, and we allow what we've done or what we have done to get in the way of our present. So what we don't do is that we don't say, I forgive me. You know what I'm saying? I forgive myself for not knowing at the time. I forgive myself for even probably knowing, but because I was hurt, I hurt other people. Like, you got to give yourself that grace. You really do. Many people, we're taught to forgive other people, but we're not taught to forgive ourselves. And I did a video on it last week, and I had a guy inbox me. He said, that was for me. And so that's what we have to do. We have to understand that we're human. We're not robotic. We're not perfect. And that we also deserve to give ourselves the same love and compassion that is required to give to other people. In a nutshell.
Go get it.